If you're running Google Ads in 2025, I can pretty much guarantee that your Google Ads dashboard or your Google rep is going to be heavily recommending for you to start a demand gen campaign. And the reason for why I wanted to release this video and an updated video is because Google has made some core updates to how demand gen operates. You've got some new targeting options. And in my view, these are actually some really good releases that Google has added into demand gen, especially now that we have the ability to set demand gen by the ad group level to target different networks. So you can run a shorts only campaign, or you could run a display only campaign. And what I'm also going to do in this video, after we quickly explain some of these options, I'm also going to take you through a step-by-step process in how to correctly set up your demand gen campaigns. And this is post April 2025 because Google just released these new updates in April 2025. So if you're watching a demand gen setup video before this date, just do need to let you know that it won't be up to date with the current settings that you have available for using demand gen in 2025. Now, also to make sure that you don't miss any of these steps as we go through it, I have also updated my demand gen campaign setup guide. And if you want the latest setup guide, including screen shares and all the instructions and how to get these settings right, I want you to go through and follow the link in the description below where you can get my demand gen setup guide. Now, before we get into that step-by-step setup guide on how to correctly set up your demand gen campaigns, I do want to have a bit of a discussion on the best way to utilize demand gen, because once again, this messaging can get really mixed from different people. It is really important to know that primarily is that demand gen is a top of a funnel campaign. Now, I've had some really big in-depth discussions with different Google reps about this, and they're starting to really push it as a remarketing campaign. I'm not saying that it can't do that. What I'm saying is that when Google looked to set up and introduce demand gen, it was very much set to be primarily a top of the funnel campaign. Now, where demand gen is different to all the other types of Google Ads campaigns is that its targeting is not based on keywords. So it's very different to a search and a shopping or a performance max campaign, because you're not directly entering keywords that you want to target. What you're actually doing is you're doing the targeting via audiences. And the great thing about this targeting via audiences is that you've got two options. You can either use your customer audiences and create lookalike segments, or you can actually go into, say, for example, you only want to target website visitors, or you only want to target certain product page visitors, which, as I said before, is where sometimes you get that messaging that it's a remarketing campaign. The other thing with demand gen is that it's very much based on video and image-based ads. So you won't see the ads in the search or the shopping network. Demand gen ads will appear in these core places. Firstly, on YouTube, both YouTube Shorts and also your in-stream. And if you want to, you can actually separate them out into different ad groups. It also displays in on the display network, so all the different websites where you see your image-based ads appearing. And you also got options to push it to Gmail and also the Discovery network. All right, now let's talk about the best structure for a demand gen campaign. And generally with demand gen, we are seeing the best level of success with having one demand gen campaign. So generally for search-based campaigns, you might separate this out via different keyword themes. But for demand gen, remembering that we're really targeting that, prioritizing our focus on that top of the funnel, you're changing the messaging where for a lot of time, this is the first touch point that people will have with your brand. So we're not saying that we don't want those conversions to happen, but it's just really important to remember with the messaging, this could be the first time that the user has even seen your brand or even heard about your product. And it's for that case that we are still finding that we're getting better results inside of one demand gen campaign. And the beauty of that is that in that one demand gen campaign, you can have different ad groups with different levels of targeting. And that targeting can be not only around audiences, but it can also be around the different networks. So you might have a different ad group for display versus a different ad group for your YouTube Shorts. And the other thing that I would really stress with your demand gen campaign is that you really need to focus on your ad assets. So your videos and also your images, is remembering that you are doing a bit of an interruption here, is that, especially on the YouTube network, you may be stopping them from watching a longer video because they've got to watch your video ad, or if they're on the Shorts network, they're scrolling through and then they see your ad. So you do really need to think about your creatives, because people aren't necessarily searching for your product when they see your ad. So with all of that in mind, there are a couple extra little things that as we go through the setup, I will also highlight these, but I just wanted to make it really clear that right at the start, at the moment in 2025, I'm recommending that when you use a demand gen campaign, that you do not turn on optimized targeting, so you opt out of that option. The reason for that is because if you were to turn on optimized targeting, it turns all of your targeting options that you've created by your audiences, it turns them into signals. Now, if you're familiar with Google Ads, you would know signals is a terminology which was introduced when they introduced Performance Max campaigns. And effectively what that does is that one of the main benefits I see about a demand gen campaign is that you've got some greater controls around who sees your ads. So I would turn off optimized targeting, and if you were to wanted to create like a lookalike audience, I'd put that in its own ad group, but still turning off that optimized targeting. And then the biggest thing you do really want to think about is that with the audiences that you're targeting and your ad copy and your messaging, you want to make sure that you've got your messaging set right. So remember that these are people who may not know about you or your brand or your service. So you really need to be going through a testing round of getting the right messaging that is going to work for these people when they're first seeing your products. And then the final thing that you need to think about with a demand gen campaign is that with a demand gen campaign, you also need to be looking at a metric which is called view through conversions, because it is highly likely, remember the ads don't appear on the search or the shopping network, that a user may see your ad 2 or 3 times, complete a search, and then convert inside of a search campaign or a shopping campaign. And if that does happen, you see this metric called view through conversions. So I've seen a number of cases where people feel like their demand gen campaign isn't working or not working where they need to be expected. They turn it off and then the total account performance goes down. So with demand gen, what you do want to be really be looking at is you want to give it a good 90 days as a core test. Then you want to look at your campaign results, before you started demand gen, because very often you can see that demand gen is increasing the performance of your search and or your shopping campaigns. All right, with all of that said, let's now jump into a screen share so I can take you through the step-by-step process for setting up your own demand gen campaign. All right, so let me take you now through the step-by-step process for setting up your demand gen campaign. Now remember, if you do miss any of these steps, just follow that link in the description below, and this will take you through the step-by-step guide of setting up your demand gen campaign. The other thing I do want to mention as well, and I'll put this link in the description below as well, is that you do need your ad creators ready. And for your videos, they need to be uploaded into YouTube, and then you also need your image ads. So as I said, in the description below, you can not only get that campaign guide set up, but I'll also include a link of where you can see all the specs that you need for your images and your video-based ads. All right, when we're inside of Google Ads, we go through firstly and click create campaign, and then from here you can choose either sales leads, or if you wanted to, you can also choose something like website traffic or awareness and consideration. In this situation, I'm just going to go through and choose leads, and then from there is that now you've got some of these different conversion goals. It's important to note that if you want to remove some of these, so let's just say in this situation we just want to focus on these purchase conversions, what you can do is you can go through and remove these, and what this does is it removes it from the campaign, but it does not remove it from the account. So what that means is that Google will still go through and track these conversions, but it won't use it for any bidding settings that you've got inside of your demand gen campaign. So once you've got your conversions in there, you want to go through and click continue. Then you want to go through and select the campaign type, and in here we're going to select demand gen. Okay, now when it comes into your campaign name, what I do want you to think about here is you're the only person that's going to see this name, but I really do like to put in something that makes sense for me. So let's just say in this case we were going demand gen, we would go something like new customers. Once again, you just need to put in something that makes sense for you so that when you really quickly look at reviewing the campaign, it also allows that if you're ever going to export any of your data into any data studios or Looker Studio dashboards, so you know exactly what this campaign is about. If you are an e-commerce brand and you want to go through and actually add in a product feed, you can do that as well. And then you see these different options for the campaign goal. We're going to put here in conversions. Once again, if you're an e-commerce brand, you're running in a product feed, you could set up as a conversion value. The main difference is going to be is further down the track. If you wanted to add in a target CPA or a target ROAS, you could do that. I don't recommend adding in a target ROAS or a target CPA at the start. We just want to run this because this is going to start on maximize conversions, and then we want to go through and put in our daily budget. Now, the only thing that I would say in through here is that two things. You want to have a daily budget that you can afford to pay for the next 90 days. Very, very unlikely that you're going to see success in the first 1 to 2 weeks with this campaign. It is more of a slow build, and then you start to see a lot more success. The other thing we have noticed is that you need to be spending at least $15 a day, especially if you're targeting a larger country like America. If you've got some smaller countries or you're targeting a smaller location, you may be able to get a little bit lower. But generally with a demand gen campaign, you'd want to be making sure you're reaching at least that $15 a day mark. We're going to put it in at $20. And then from there, you've got some different options. Now, these are some core settings that you do want to go through and get right. First thing you want to be going through is that you want to make a decision with the location and the language. Are you setting this at a campaign level, or are you setting this at an ad group level? level. So what this also does mean is that if you wanted to, you could run one campaign across different countries and have different ad groups based around the different countries. Now, the main thing to remember is that if you set it at a campaign level, it will override your ad group level. So at the moment, we're keeping it at the ad group level. And then you want to go through, once again, with these devices, you don't need to worry about setting the devices at this level because you can also do it at the ad group level. So now we want to go through into the ad group setting. And once again, this is where you need to get your naming set really, really right. Remembering what you want to be able to do is you want to be really, really clear about what that ad group is targeting. And let me give you a quick example. So in here, this is a real life demand gen campaign we've got running at the moment. You can see we've called out ad group names by display, in-stream shorts, and then we've also just recently broken out this campaign into different audiences. We use this one to start to more target our lookalike audiences of our current website visitors. With these YouTube awareness ones, what we actually did is that we went through and built a audience based around people who are watching not only our YouTube videos, but similar YouTube videos to our products. So for this one, we're just going to create this one to be called Shorts. And now this is where you can go through and add this targeting. Remember what we said before, because we didn't set this at the campaign level, we can now set this targeting at the ad group level. So this one, I'm just going to select Australia. And then as well, we're going to put in English. Now, when it comes to the channels, this is where you can say, so for this one, we want to choose, let me choose. We only want these ads to appear on the YouTube Shorts. We're going to set up some other asset groups, which will target these different networks. Now, the benefit of this is, as you can see from here, is that we can really start to see the performance on the display network versus our in-stream versus our shorts versus different audiences. So you can really start to build out a really good framework of what's working best for your business. And then after a little while, once you start seeing your results for any of these underperforming ad groups, you can pause them to focus more budget in on these better performing ad groups. So once you've gone through and selected the channel that you want your ads to appear on, you then need to go through and select your audience. Now, remember how I said in the video before about turning off the optimized targeting? That's where you want to turn it off. Now, Google will say that, you can see an average of 20% more conversions, but remember that a lot of this data they get comes from companies that are spending large amounts. So we're talking, 6 figures on individual campaigns. So when you're giving the Google algorithm that much data, obviously it'll make it work. But if you're a smaller or medium-sized business, we're still seeing much better results with this setup, which I'm about to show you now. And then what you need to do is you need to add in your audience. I'm going to set up a new audience so you can see the steps so we can go through and do this. In this one, I'm going to set up what's called a lookalike audience, but I'm going to take you through all of these different options. Now, the lookalike audience is something that was new inside of Google Ads for demand gen. And what you can do is you can put a combination of all of these. I'm just going to take you through the steps, but we're only going to set up a lookalike audience. So what you can do it through here is if you wanted to, you could create a new segment. And what a new segment is that you can actually target people who are visiting different types of websites or different types of apps. Now, for this one, let me show you an example in here. That's the option that we chose in here. And what we actually did through here is that in this audience, we actually put a collection of YouTube videos, so direct YouTube videos, and that's built out an audience for us, which at the moment has got in between 5 billion to 10 billion impressions potentially per week, but that's a specific audience that we built. Now, you can also create your data. If you wanted to create more of a remarketing type audience, you could do that in here, or you can do this interest and detailed demographics, which is not your data, but all of these Google audiences. But what we're going to do is we're going to create what's called a lookalike segment. And the way that you would do this is that you need to create what is called a seed list. And a seed list is basically you giving Google some data. So this could be your previous converters, or it could be all of your website visitors, or it could be all of your purchases. Now I'm going to put in there our converters and our purchases and also our customer lists. And then you could make the decision. You can refine it by countries, but then you can make the decision as whether you want this to be narrow, balanced, or broad. We'll just keep this on balanced. And now that we've put in all of that data, you can then go through and click save. And then we've built out that lookalike segment. And now this comes to the time where what you need to do is you need to go through and create your ads. Now, because this one, we have set this up to be for our shorts, we want to create a video ad only. And, I would usually do something like angle 1, or if it's a testimonial video, I just want to have some information in there so that I know which ad that it is that it's performing. And for this one, we just go through and copy the URL URL of the video. We put it in through here, and that's our initial video. We also need to go through and put in our landing page. So you need to make sure that you've got that correct landing page as you would usually put it in there. And then there's this important decision on choose where to show your ads. So if you don't select this, this will just show it across all of YouTube. Remember, we've already set it to be YouTube only, but we're just going to say that we just want this to be streams only. You do need to also have a logo in there, and then you need to put in your different text headlines. Also set through your site links, and then you just need to go to review, and then you can publish your campaign. Now, what I want to do through here is I do want to show you some of the options for how to create separate audiences and separate ads. So once I've set up that first ad, what I'll generally do is I'll go through and duplicate this ad. This is our new duplicated ad. We can then go through and just make the changes we want to. So let's just say we want to test a different video. We can remove that video and put another video in there that we've already got. So let's just say we want to choose this video. We can then also go through and change any of our text headlines. So that's an easy way of duplicating your ad. Now, another thing that you can do is if you want to actually go through and duplicate this ad group, you can actually duplicate the whole ad group. And the way that you would go through and do this is if you select this ad group, go through, you can create a copy and then paste it. And then what that allows you to do is it just then allows you to go through, you'll have this ad group set up already there, and then you just go through and start creating the ads. Now, remembering for this one, if you wanted to create a display ad, it would just be a matter of you changing over the ad and creating the different media and the different landing pages. So eventually what you'll have is you'll have something that looks like this, where you've got your different ad groups. And as I said, the core recommendation here is to have your ad groups based around either the networks or the audiences that you are targeting. And that's the step-by-step process that I use to set up my demand gen campaigns. Now, remember, if you want to get my updated demand gen campaign setup guide, make sure you follow that link in the description below. And you can also follow that link so you can see that specifications for all of your ad assets. So you've got the right settings for your video and your image-based ads. Thank you for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. And if you want to know a little bit more about the differences between Demand Gen and Performance Max, I want you to go through and watch this video right here. See you next time.